Hello and welcome to Andy Shed Live. This is Series 16, episode number 17 for Sunday the 24th of November 2024. Hello everybody, welcome to the show. It's me again with you for another Sunday evening, another Andy Shed Live. I'm a bit windswept today. It has been rather windy here today. Rather windy and, well, dark and miserable and wet and horrible all weekend, really. I was supposed to go to an event on Saturday and didn't go. Weather was just so bad, I just didn't go. But how on earth are you all this morning? I do hope you're all well. Wesley is with us in the chat. Evening, Wesley. Good to see you. And Neville's here as well. Evening, Neville. If you're looking for the chat, of course, we are on YouTube this evening, and the chat is live, mad, bad, and dangerous to know, as they say. I'll make that chat a bit bigger so I can see it tonight. That always helps, doesn't it? Right. I hope it's all working okay this evening. I think everything's working as it should be, but who knows the vagaries of YouTube and stuff. Been a busy old week. I've been using my model making skills this week, making rolling stock. The 3D printer's been working overtime. Model railway rolling stock for narrow gauge, 009 scale narrow gauge. Little wagons and things like this. It's a funny colour because it's not been painted, but yeah, stuff like that. Little wagons like that, and also coaches like that. If you want to find us, have a look for us on eBay and that, or have a look for us in our very own shop, as well as looking on eBay, which you can find by going here, andysemporium.corepress.net, and then click on the thing that says visit our shop, that you'll see at the bottom. So it's https://andysemporium.corepress.net, and you will find our shop there. Or alternatively, as I say, you can have a look on eBay. If you just type in something like 009 tank wagon into eBay, you will find one of the things that we've just listed on there yesterday. Actually, so if you're an 009 railway modeller, get on over there and have a little look. Right, I'm just looking who we've got. Oh, Gambo's with us. Hi Gambo, you've made it this week. But he's on mobile, so it might disappear because he's on mobile. But hopefully not. Hopefully it'll hold out, and you'll be able to see what's going on. Right, one or two people missing this week. Actually, it's a bit quiet, but maybe it's because we've started quite late. Actually, right, I need to move some stuff because I have got all sorts of stuff here at the minute, and it's all in the way, as it very often is. So yeah, we've been fixing clocks again as well this week. Done a load of clocks this week. Got them going, including a cuckoo clock that is now on the wall, happily cuckooing away. The clock's not ticking in the background. I've deliberately not wound it up, so it doesn't make a ticking noise during the live stream tonight. I've still got a mystery object, by the way. I have still got this thing here. This. Still no news on what it is. We know it's from Western Electric, but we don't know what it is. So it's American, but can somebody tell me what it is, what it's all about, even how you get it apart, because I just can't. So yeah, anybody who knows what this is, get in touch with us please. If you don't know the contact details for us, then go on the website and you'll find it all on there. Oh no, that's the wrong thing. Where are we? That's the one I want, that one. andyshed.coldpress.net, that's the website. andyshed.coldpress.net, and you'll find a contact us form somewhere on there. How cool is that? Right, hang on. I'm having a bit of finger trouble today with the old cameras. I'm looking a bit green as well, aren't I? Am I looking green? It's really hard to light this room because it's weird colours. This room, it doesn't come out well on camera. But yeah, what is this? Let us know. Yeah. Right, what's everybody been up to? Wesley says, could that thing be a watch receiver? It could indeed, Wesley. It could indeed be a watch receiver. I've got... yeah. I suppose it could. I'm not sure how you hang it up though. It's got a... that's kind of a button, that thing on the end of it there. That is... that, if you can... that is actually a button. You can press that in. Let's see. It takes quite a lot of doing to press it in. I wonder if it's missing some kind of knob off the end of there. I don't know. Got no idea what it is, but it does say it's Western Electric on the back of it. There you go. Western Electric, New York, made in USA. Something approval. Back approval number. Then is it 31 or 51? I think it's 51. Weight 7 ounces. 631B. So if anybody knows what it is, get in touch with us. Let me reset my camera now. Made it go all out of focus. Right. Right. We will crack on, shall we? I have today had an email from someone. I will find it and read it out to you. When I delete my spam, that is. Yeah, a chap called Richard's been in touch. Hello Richard, if you're watching. He says, Dear Andy, thanks so much for making the most wonderful GPO rotary telephone restoration videos. You're very welcome, Richard. They've been incredibly helpful in giving me enough confidence to begin tackling restoring a newly acquired GPO Silver Jubilee telephone. One issue I've been having is with polishing the case. I used Brasso and for some reason it dulled the case. Is this because the case is not ABS plastic? Or would you know if I should try the full acetone and acetone methylated spirits teacut combination? I stopped working because it seems that whatever I'm doing has been making the case worse. Also, I've been trying to take apart the handset. When I finally got the two halves apart, there were these plastic clips holding the transmitter and speaker in place. Is there a way to take those out? The plastic seems to have gotten a bit more fragile with age, and one of the clips in the middle of the handset already has broken off. Lastly, the switch hook on the Jubilee I purchased is missing one of the springs because the little notch that holds it on, the mechanism, seems to have broken off at one point. Is there anything you could recommend I use as a substitute? It seems if I hold the side, the one that's missing the spring, down, the single spring has enough tension to allow the mechanism to work properly. Thank you again so much for your YouTube channel. It has been and continues to be very helpful. All the best, Richard. Right, Richard. Right, a couple of things there. I'll start with the easy one because I don't know the answer to it. The missing spring. It sounds like you've got a little bit of broken plastic somewhere inside that the spring attaches to. I don't know anything that you can do to replace the broken bit. I've got no idea what you can do really to replace the broken bit on there. So yeah, because it's spring loaded, it will be taking a bit of force, so I would say probably keep your eye out for parts. See if you can find another one for parts and that. You may be able to use a bit of plastic card or something to rebuild the bit that's broken, the plastic bit that's broken, but there will always be a slightly weak point where you join it onto the original bit. So yeah, not sure about that one. Jury's out on that one. JB Weld, they say JB Weld is good, don't they? This kind of liquid metal stuff, this JB Weld, it's like a putty. And you can, when it sets, you can like drill it and all kinds of stuff like that. So if you can get JB Weld, that might be the way to do it. Regarding the polishing and the Brasso upsetting the polish or upsetting the finish, I've got no idea on that one. I've done phones with Brasso and that, but I wonder if Brasso have changed the formula of what they use. See, Brasso used to be quite simply an abrasive Brasso, but I'm suspicious that it's perhaps not an abrasive anymore. I don't tend to use Brasso these days. I tend to use T-cut, mainly because it's easier. Now, the Brasso that you've been using, is it Brasso in a bottle? It's not the Brasso, it's not like the Brasso wadded, is it? Brasso wadding will not work. It needs to be Brasso in a bottle. It needs to be the brown stuff in a bottle. Now, strangely, T-cut used to look like Brasso. T-cut used to look exactly the same. I'm going to do something with this camera because it's bugging me. Now this strange hue and saturation thing. Yeah, I'll say Brasso used to work, and T-cut used to look the same as Brasso. I think I've done it. Does that look better now? Do I look less green now? T-cut used to look the same as Brasso, but it doesn't anymore. Both used to be brown, but Now, T-cut is not as brown as it used to be, as I will demonstrate by putting a bit on here. See, it's whiter than it used to be now, T-cut. Can you see that? And I find that quite bizarre that T-cut has changed in that way. It's really, really odd, and I've got no idea why it should have changed like that, but it has. This camera's not right tonight, just bear with me a sec. It looks dark, doesn't it? Right, I think that's better. Does that camera look better now? Yeah. Yeah, but what you were saying about not working, this is T-cut, which should do the same as Brasso. You say if I just give this junction box a bit of a rub with T-cut. You don't have to polish it up afterwards. After you've put it on, you do have to buff it off again, whether it's Brasso or T-cut. Now, the GPO, I believe, used to use a polish made by a company called Greygate, and they do still exist, and you can still get that polish from Greygate, but it's quite expensive, and you have to send off for it. You know, it's a specialist thing. Which is why I tend to use Brasso, because you can just get it. Although getting the liquid Brasso is actually getting more tricky now. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't really polish up to a massive shine, but it does get better. You know, it certainly shouldn't be making it worse. So there's the sort of thing it should be doing. I mean, it's not massively improved the shine on that, but it is there. So I don't know, has anybody else had any experience of Brasso making things worse? Because it's a new one on me, that. Let me know what you think. Wesley says that the Jubilee handsets are difficult to dismantle. He says they were used on the Mickey Mouse dial telephones as well as the compact. Yeah, they were bright yellow ones. If you get a bright yellow one, it's off a Mickey Mouse. Yeah, I've never took one apart, one of those actually. I've never really had a need to. What I would say is you probably don't need to take it apart. I've never took one apart because I'm going to say I've never felt the requirement to. So I don't really know that you necessarily would need to take it apart. If it ain't broke, don't mend it, and all that. So I wouldn't worry too much about the handset, unless it's obviously got a fault in it. And the first thing to check if it's got a fault is look in the wires and the connections onto the circuit board, because the fault will probably be somewhere in the cord. But yeah, I don't know. So sorry I can't be more helpful with those. Wesley says the Greygate plastic polish is great stuff for getting a nice gloss finish, but you need to get the base material sorted first. I like to wet sand then machine polish. That would do it. I suppose it all kind of depends on how bad the surface is. I mean, most things that I get aren't generally that bad. If I get anything that is really bad, then I either sand it or I do the chemical sanding thing on it, which I did. The chemical sanding thing I did on this, because this was terrible. When I got this, it was covered in paint and God knows what, and it was all discoloured and that. So we had to take basically the top layer of plastic off, and so we did it chemically. We took the top layer of plastic off this. So this is what happens when you do it with acetone, and you will see it's not totally shiny. It has got what look almost like, and probably are, brush marks in it. So it's not totally shiny. So this does need polishing up, but it's a million times better than it was. It's a million times better than it was. So there's one, and that's one for Christopher, because it is a 706 clone, although it does say it's a 706L underneath it, but it's not a 706L, is it? Because it's only got the numbers on there. But yeah, that's one that I did the surface off chemically. It's not perfect, but if you'd seen that phone when it started, you'd know it's a lot better than it was. So yeah, but possibly fine wet sanding, but that does, you do end up then with a rough finish. It's a long drawn out process to repolish everything, particularly on a phone, because they're such a blooming awkward shape. That's what makes it difficult. Yeah, the shape is not brilliant, shall we say. Right, just looking what's going on in the chat and that. Doing about 3 things at once. I'm not good at multitasking. Really not very good at it at all. My ever-growing pile of stuff down here has grown a bit more this week. There's tons and tons and tons of clocks and telephones and all sorts of weirdness. Bits and pieces and things. This has arrived this week though. What is it, I hear you cry? It is, well, let's have a look, shall we, and see what it is. It is a dial. Now, this is really good proof that anybody can get caught out, including me. I bought this, I saw this, and it was like that on the listing. And I thought, that looks like a dial 10 and the spring's gone, and it was only a £5. And I thought, oh yeah, that might be a dial 10. Now I know some of you are screaming at me that that's not a dial 10, but from the listing I thought it was a dial 10. Actually the spring's not gone on it. It does go back, but it only goes back to there, and then it hits the stop. And if you look, there is a gap between there and there, the finger stop. You see that gap? That tells me this is not a GPO dial. If you go and buy a Indian 300 series, they have a dial similar to this, you know. I believe this dial was made by ATE, but I'm not 100% certain. I believe it's one of their dials, and it is a bit different when you look at it on the back. It is a bit different to a normal GPO dial, but it does the same thing, but it does it in a slightly different way. But I'm looking at how it's doing the make break. And it's doing the make break with this cam thing here. As I let that go, you'll see and there is a bit of damage on that cam actually, but that is how it's doing the make break on this. Here's your terminals as usual for your dial, and it's brass by the looks of it, but it's been painted black. That's what made me think it was off something like a candlestick, because they had all the brass bits painted black originally, but I'm now not so sure. But yeah, what is it off? That's the question. I think ATE used to put them on their phones, these. But it's there. That is the only telephone related item that has arrived this week. To get these apart, it's very similar to what you have to do with a normal GPO dial, in that you need to get a fairly small flat-ended screwdriver and pick at the end of a thing in here and try and just flip out a split ring thing. Can you see that there coming out? And if you can get that out, then you can take off the case of getting a bigger screwdriver in there. That screwdriver's a little bit too big. Let's try this one. That's better. You can take out that screw then. And that is actually a very unusual screw for the centre of a dial. It's got a massively chunky head on it. I don't know if you can see how chunky the head of that is. So let's not lose that, so we'll never find another one of them. Then you should be able to remove that normally. But in this case you can't. So perhaps we have to take these two out on this, which you don't normally have to do. You do have to take those two out. And then you're into the innards of it. And then you've got an enamel dial there. Now there's little tabs here holding that on. If you wanted to take that out, you'd take them out by removing that. Then very carefully, without chipping it, you should then be able to remove that. And there is your enamel plate. And now you can kind of get at most of the workings of the dial now, either from that side where you get at half of it, or from that side where you equally get at half of it. What I'm not sure about is why some of these what I'm not sure about here is why some of these appear to have been jumpered together. I don't know if you can see that, but there's jumper wires in them. Some of them are definitely held together, which I'm not 100% convinced they should be. So if I was to use this, I'd probably be taking those jumpers off. Because I'm not convinced they should exist. But what do you think? There's no marks on this dial. There's nothing to say like who made it or a model number or anything on it. GPO dials sometimes are marked around here somewhere, but this is not. So yeah, it's a bit filthy though. Right, I'm going to stick it back together anyway. So, to stick it back together, we put this back on. And we now have to get this in the right place. Like so. Then we can manipulate those little clips back on like that. Then we can put this back on, which has been painted black. So just stick that back on there, and then that screw with the very chunky head in the middle. Sort it out so you're flush, which means you can put your dial label in there if you want to. And then at the bottom here there should be a little hole. You might have to clear it out, it might be full of gudge, but down there should be a little hole there. Okay, and that is because the end of this ring is bent over at 90 degrees to the rest of it, and the end of it goes in that hole. So you put that end in first, into that hole, like that. So that then locks that end into place. So you then work your way around the ring, but remember you've got to put this on first, which is your label cover, and that has also got a little slot in it. Can you see that slot there? And that slot goes over the top of the hole, so the end of your snap ring can go in there. And then you just snap the rest of it into place like that, and there it is. It's back together. So that's how you get one of those apart, if you happen to have one of those. Like I say, I think they're made by ATE, those dials, but I would not swear to it, so don't quote me on it, okay? Um, where's this? I was going to say it looks like a dial that was on the Gecko phone type phone that I once had. That was an ATE telephone. Yeah, it probably is, Wesley. It probably is. It probably is off one of those. But I think I've got a 300 clone, an ATE type 300 series. I think that's got one of these on it. But yeah, a nice, slightly different dial. It was cheap. It was only a fiver. So yeah, I thought we'd acquire it while I could. Don't know where everybody's gone in the chat tonight. Neville says the weather's not been great for dog walking. No, it's not, Neville. It's been decidedly unpleasant for dog walking, let me tell you. Yeah, it's not been very good at all this weekend. I've only stepped out of the house. It's just been so dark. It's like it's not got light this weekend. It's been absolutely crazy. Really not nice. And of course now, with altering the clocks and that, it is properly dark now. It's like pitch black outside now, so no little trips up the garden with the camera now for the next 6 months or so. But yeah, yeah, and of course my solar panels don't do much at this time of year either. I've discovered they're not brilliant, shall we say, at this time of the year. Well, yeah, but we're carrying on. I've got a massive heap of telephones down here that I'm doing stuff with that need things doing with them. Yeah, I have got quite a heap. I'm also in the process of making a clock spring winder as well. So a project I started the other week and I've got half done. I have got the bits that I need for it now, though, that I didn't have before. So I'm working on that. But yeah, just lots of little jobs. I had a load of clocks that I needed to get going, and this weekend, while the weather's been so rough, I have got most of them going. So they're all running now. So I've run out of clocks to repair now. I've had a clock repairing session this weekend, and then, like I say, I've had a model making session, and that, and I've got various spare bits of clock that I need to find somewhere for them to go. Another thing that I've got, because I've been doing the 3D printing, I've got lots of waste from a 3D printer like this. This is what they call a raft, that you print out before you print your model out. And you print this down onto the bed of the printer, and then it sticks down onto the bed of the printer, and then you print your model on top of this, what you've printed. But then you throw this away when you take it off the printer. And I've got loads of these. Does anybody know what I can do with these rafts? Because I've got loads of them, and other bits of failed print and stuff, and I could do with some way of recycling it. So if anybody's got any ideas, let me know. And yes, I know you can buy machines that chew them up and turn them into new filament, but they are massively expensive. They're like thousands of pounds. There was a kind of homebrew one called a Philistruder, but nobody ever seems to have the parts in stock for that. So yeah, if anybody knows what I can do with PLA rafts and other bits of PLA print, it is PLA, it's not ABS, it's PLA that I've been using. Yeah, let me know what I can do with it. I would be interested to know. Wesley says, Where are Messrs 2000 and Meakin this evening? I've got no idea, Wesley. No idea where they are at all. It says, what type of plastic is it? It's PLA, which is what most 3D printers tend to use. Yeah, I've got no idea where Christopher and Dominic are today. Seem to have gone missing. Yeah, very, very quiet in the old chat. Maybe it's because it's getting near Christmas. Maybe Dominic's doing his house move, because he's due to be moving, isn't he? So maybe that's where he is. But yeah, who knows? Unless Dominic's gone to Australia, of course, which would explain where they both are. Yeah. Right, what is next up today? I'll wrap my dial back up in my bubble wrap as I'm going, as I'm talking to you. I am looking for parts at the moment. I am looking for bits for an American 3-slot payphone. I've got an American 3-slot payphone here that needs new innards in it. It's a long story. Those of you who've been watching here for a long time might already know the story. But basically I found what I thought was a very good deal on an American 3-slot payphone. I think I paid about 120 quid for it. And it was already in the UK. So I thought, oh, that's lucky. I might be able to do something with that, I thought to myself. Thought it was in the UK and yada yada yada. When it arrived and I looked inside it, it had all the insides gutted and it messed about with a lot of the inside. So my 3-slot payphone ended up being not the brilliant buy that I initially thought it was. So I'm looking for innards for an American 3-slot payphone. I'm just moving bits of clock. Off the desk here, which I've got quite a few, just to give me a bit of space back, basically. Just trying to get a bit of space back. Right. That's good. I think I've got all them bits of that there. Right. Yeah, so we're looking for American 3-slot payphone parts. The other thing at the moment is desperately trying to find somewhere to put things. My museum idea needs to happen because I'm running out of space rapidly, and I mean rapidly. Oh crikey! The chat's suddenly gone mad. I wonder if it was all being held up somewhere along the line. Alright, I need to catch up with it now. Just hang on a sec. Wesley says, is there any allotment news? Not at the moment, Wesley. It's been too cold and wet and dark and horrible to go there. But yeah, I've built a big bonfire of rubbish that I now need to set fire to, and I've been trying to set fire to it since like just before bonfire night, not managed it yet. Dominic is here. Hi Dominic. He says, hi, just popping in. I've packed away all my phones in a box. Wow, getting ready for the move. It says I just need to get the hi-fi all packed away now. Gumbo says, hi Andy, hi Wesley and co. I've managed to get my hands on an old clock which was housed in a substation in Ireland. Doesn't wind but looks great. Wesley says, hi Gumbo, sounds nice. I'm on the lookout for a granddaughter clock. When you say granddaughter clock, what do you mean exactly? Do you mean a grandfather clock but smaller? Or do you mean a like a mantle clock but in a long tall case so it stands about 4 or 5 foot high? Because I've heard both of those things referred to as a granddaughter clock. Dominic says, I might wrap the Diacon phones in another layer of bubble wrap. Wesley says, I'd be carrying them. yeah, I'd carry them. I don't put anything on top of them, Dominic. The Diacon phones in particular. Don't put anything on top of them, and do not transport them with the handset on the hook. Make sure you bubble wrap the handset separately to the body of the phone, even if it means taking the phone apart and disconnecting the handset inside and physically taking it off, because the handsets can do a lot of damage to the actual phone in transit. Wesley says, clock on a pedestal type. There's quite a lot of them, Wesley, in Mansfield, at a place called Victoria Antique Centre in Mansfield. There's quite a lot of them there, but they're expensive there. They're really expensive because the old guy who runs Victoria Antique Centre doesn't really want to sell anything, so they're quite pricey, but there's loads there. I'd say eBay is probably your friend. Dominic says, I've taken the handsets off the Diacon phones and packaged it all with packing peanuts to reduce movement in transit. Gambo says the phone he's got, the clock he's got is a Thomas Armstrong and Brothers from Manchester, but the enamel has flaked off. Dominic says, if all goes well, I'll be moved in by the middle of next month. Oh, so middle of December then, so you'll be in for Christmas, Dominic. That'll be good. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Yeah, you need to get the clock going, Gambo. You know, if it was in a substation, it's a clock, Gambo. Is it a wind-up clock, or is it like a master clock or a slave clock for an electric system? Yeah, if you're really lucky, it's a master clock. I've been looking for a master clock for ages and ages and ages. I've got a GPO slave clock, and I've been looking for a master clock for ages to run it, but they are crazily expensive. Whereas it says it keeps looking on eBay for a grandmother clock. When there's one close enough, he'll pounce. Yeah, grandmother clock. That's an interesting one. Let's have a look. Yeah, see, there's some for £50, £60. Yeah, I mean there's some for like £300, but yeah, it's some for about 50 or £60 showing on eBay at the moment, Wesley. Guess it depends what sort you want exactly. But yeah, Smith's. Oh, yeah. Grandmother daughter clock, Westminster chime. And that, see, there's one made by Smith's here, and it seems to use a lot of the same bits that they use in their mantle clocks. It does just look like a mantle clock on a pedestal to me. I know quite a bit about Smith's clocks because I've got quite a few of them. Yeah, so you should be able to get one, Wesley. It should be possible to get one relatively easily. Wesley says, I've got a master clock emulator. A master clock emulator. So come on, Wesley, what is a master clock emulator? I guess it's something that sends out the pulses if you've not got a master clock, isn't it? How does that work then? I can't find anything about a master clock emulator online. Must be looking in the wrong places. But yeah, that would be good. That would make my non-master clock go, hopefully. Wesley says it's actually part of my TIM 2000 speaking clock. It throws out 30-second pulses. Right, that's interesting. I didn't know you got one of those TIM 2000s either. Yeah, the TIM 2000. The speaking clock for the millennium. This is what Sam Hallis's website has got to say about about the TIM 2000. For those who don't know, like me, because I've heard of them but I've never really looked into it, it says Andy Emerson, president of the Telecommunications Heritage Group, started this project off during 2000. The idea was to recreate in solid state form the original speaking clock with the authentic voice of Pat Simmons. None of your sponsored by Accurate stuff. Over 60 members subscribed to the scheme to sponsor the design and assembly of the circuit boards. After various development and production difficulties, the boards were delivered to the subscribers just after Christmas 2000, only just in time for the date. There are further details on the page that Andy prepared. Yeah, did you make it then, Wesley? Did you actually have to assemble this this thing? Crikey, it looks hard work putting that together. Yeah, lots of circuit boards on a TIM 2000, lots of components and that. It's easy to do it in software now with Asterisk. Yeah, it is doable with Asterisk as a software thing. Yeah, crikey, yeah. TIM 2000 speaking clock. Well, it says, I built a driver to run slave clocks, although I don't have any slave clocks anymore. Oh, right. Well, it says, I'll get my TIM 2000 plugged in for you to try it. I've got a SIP gate line that ends in 8081 that I used to have it plugged into. You bought it as a kit and you had to house it and add the pots and leads, etc. Gambo says the clock he's got, he says yes, it's a wind-up clock. His friend rescued it before the old substation was being replaced and the building being demolished, and was in Rothway. It says not in Ireland, so that was a different item altogether. Alright, so if this clock came out of a substation, Gambo, I'm guessing it's quite a big one, is it? If it was on the wall in a substation. Yeah, Gambo got a massive clock on his kitchen wall. that's what I'm picturing now. I once knew a guy through the Tramway Museum at Karachi who turned out collected clocks, and I went to see him and his long-suffering wife one day. They said, come over, they said, and have a look at the clock collection and that. And they got some model trams as well. They said, come and have a look. So I went over one day, and his walls were just covered in clocks, absolutely covered in clocks. Every wall in the house was covered in clocks from like top to bottom, and they were all going. And you can imagine what happened when the top of the hour came round, can't you? It was like all hell broke loose. But it must take you a week to wind them all up. I will never forget it. I've not got quite as many of that. I've probably got about 8 or 10, something like that. But yeah, not a crazy number like that. Gambo says, sent pics via email to you. Right, let's have a look, see if he has. My email doesn't always get through when I'm doing this live show though. I think it kind of holds it up somehow. I've never quite got to the bottom of it. Let's have a little look. I'll talk amongst yourselves a minute while we sort this out. and we'll see if we can find Gambo's clock. The email is downloaded even as I speak. Trouble is I get so much spam it takes my email ages to download. Who's that ringing me? Clock. Oh, it's not as massive as it might be. Yeah, not as massive as I thought it might be. Let's see if I can show you it. Here's Gambo's clock. So yeah, it's not huge, but it's not small either. And that's what it's like on the back and that, and yeah, so it looks like you just screw it onto the wall. It's pretty good though. It's a good one to have rescued it. Yeah. I reckon you could get that going, Gambo. I think that'd go. I think you should get that going. It probably needs dunking in some clock cleaner. I go to a company called Priory Polishers for clock cleaner. They've got an eBay shop, Priory Polishers, and I get their clock cleaner with ammonia in it. And you basically chuck all your brass things or your clock mechanism into that, and it comes out shiny. You know, it sort of comes out like that. It's magic stuff, the clock cleaner. Absolutely magic stuff. Really is. Like I say, I get it from a company. I think they're called Priory Polishers. And yeah, and if you take the mechanism out of that clock, bung it in a tub of clock cleaner, make sure it's something, the tub is something you can seal a lid onto, because the clock cleaner smells like you wouldn't believe. It's the most awful smell you've ever smelt in your life, but it does work really, really well. You just want to seal the lid on so the smell can't escape. But yeah, give it a go, because I reckon that that clock would go probably if you cleaned it and oiled it. I reckon it would probably go, and probably tick quite nicely as well. Gambo says it's heavy. Yeah, it looks heavy actually. Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, very nice clock. Yeah, very nice. You need to screw it to the wall now. And yeah, screw it to the wall and give it a wind. My guess is it's probably wound up already. Is it? won't wind up any further, so it's at the top of the wind. It's probably just gummed up. It probably just needs a good clean. They often are. What I will say is it looks like one that's got a spring balance in it, not a pendulum. They're a little bit more tricky to deal with, particularly if it's only a small clock. You're lucky, yours is a big clock, so the spring balance will be quite big parts in yours. But when the tiny things like this one and here, they're really awkward to deal with. I mean, here's a spring balance. Here, see, this is it. And this one doesn't go at the minute because it's got various problems with it, but that should go backwards and forwards, and it's so small. This is actually out of a timer for a street lamp, this one. I took it apart because it didn't work, and the reason it didn't work was a problem with that, and I want one of these spring balancers so I can put this back together. It's another one of the many things that I've got here that just needs to go back together. Yeah, another one of those little projects, and there's bits of it in here as well. See, it says time switch on the top of it. All bits of the switch and stuff. Yeah, because I have got this idea that I want to put a street light up in the garden. I've got an Esler street lamp, and I want to put it up in the garden with a mechanical time switch on it, so you have to wind it up and it comes on and goes off at various times. Yeah. Gambo says, I think the clock's been overwound, so spring may be broken as the key turns and turns. Right, the spring might be broken. You can't overwind a clock. This is a myth. It's a popular misconception that you can overwind a clock. You can't do it. It's not possible, because as you wind a clock, the spring tightens up, and once it's so tight, it's like all tightened up around itself, and you just can't wind it any further. It's impossible to do. So when people say a clock's been overwound, it's very unlikely that's what's happened. More likely what's happened when something's been overwound is the spring was on the way out, and it's either broken in the middle, the spring, or it's come off where it's anchored at either the outer end or the inner end. But you can replace springs. That's why I'm building a spring winder at the minute, so you can wind them up and get them back in the housing. But yeah, springs can quite easily be replaced. It's not a big deal to replace a spring in a clock. Not a big deal at all. So yeah, that could be what's happened to it. But yeah, you need to get in and have a look at it and stuff. But yeah, it'd be nice. You got that going. It'd be a nice thing. That, quite impressed with that. Yeah, what a great find to have rescued out of an old power station that was going to be demolished. I could do with them demolishing some power stations around here. Find things like that, you know. Brilliant. Yeah. Right. Okay. Yes. Right. Yeah. I am, as I say, building a spring winder at the minute. I've got various bits around here for it, but I've not actually put it together yet, so I can't show you as yet. But yeah, and then I'm going to put a lamp post in the garden. I've got lots of jobs to do. I really have. Could do with having could do with doing like a live show, sort of, with everybody in person and put you all to work on different projects. Might get something done then, because there is a lot to do. Yeah, there's an awful lot to do at the moment, an awful lot to do. Also, got some more of these. I keep getting these. Bet it's not got a battery in there, has it? No, it's not got a battery in this one. But yeah, if you want to see a circuit board, that's what's inside the stylophone. There's not a lot to it, is there? But yeah, this is an original proper stylophone. This, not a modern one. This is an original proper one. The way you tell the difference, if you want to know what's an original proper stylophone and what's not, there is a way to tell, and it's really easy. Well, there's a number of ways to tell actually, but if I get these out, that's a genuine stylophone, that one. That's a genuine stylophone. That's not a genuine stylophone. That's a modern repro, that one. Now they came in different colours. They did come in different colours. Most common was a black one. Second most common was the white one. Third most common was a wood finish one. The rarest of the rare is a sort of beigey brown one that was like a low pitched range, but it's very, very rare, that one. And if you see a gold one kicking about, that's one that was made by Debrec for a special event, and they are mega rare. But the way that you tell, see, that's a real one, that's not a real one. And that there's ways to tell. For a start, a real one just has one sort of phono socket on the side of it, like that. Yeah? And it has nothing else around it. It's got a thing there just to help you get it apart to get the batteries in. But all it's got in terms of ports is a phono port there. You see, the white one is basically the same. The white one is a higher pitch. See, nothing else on it, just that phono port there. The modern one has got a phono port for your headphones, but it's also got a thing for an MP3 input on it there as well, which I've never tried. Yeah, so it's got two, a modern one, it's got two. On the other side, it's got a volume control, which the original hasn't got. And on the front, it's got a slidey thing, so it's got three different voices, again, which the original hasn't got. Also, if you see it from that point of view, how do you tell? Well, this one, if you look at the corners, they are rounded. Can you see? It's got rounded corners, that. Whereas a real one has got sharp corners, an original one, and they're just the coolest thing. They are just the coolest thing. I had one as a kid. I still got the one that I had as a kid, but I bought various other ones in recent years, so I've now got quite a collection of them. But yeah, styrophones. Has this one got any batteries in? Oh yeah, I think this one's got a battery in. Yeah, this is the modern one. The modern ones, to me, don't sound as good as the old ones. But yeah, or it can switch its voices, so it goes much lower. Or higher. Yeah, so, yeah, styrophones. Hours of endless fun. But yeah, so yeah, that's a modern one. They don't sound as good as the originals in my opinion, but yeah, the originals are just cool. So that one got a battery in. Probably not actually, so I tend to take the batteries out so they don't go funny. But yeah, brilliant things. Don't you just love them? Now how the hell did I get them all in this drawer? That's the question now. How were they in this drawer? They were in here. They were in here. But how I got them in here, I don't know. That's it. Cram in there. There we go. Done it. Right. Yeah, brilliant. Stylophones. Right. I think that probably about wraps it up for one day today. I'll just have a little look at the chat, see what everybody's been saying. Wesley says a lamppost in the garden, question mark. An electric lamppost, or why not? Wesley says there must have been some really stressed parents back in the day. Yes. Yeah. No, I actually acquired a couple of cast iron lampposts quite some time ago, and the plan is to put them up in the garden because it's dark in the garden at night, and particularly at this time of year it's always bloody dark. So yeah, I do need to sort of put them up and things, put a lamp on the top of them. Yeah. Right. Anyway. Yeah, I'll tell you more about that another day. Yeah, I think that's probably about as far as we are going to take it for today. Thanks for joining us once again, everybody, and we will see you next time, when hopefully I'll have a bit more news about what's going on and that. We are here next week. Yes, we are back here next week around about same time, same place, around about 6:30 next Sunday. So please do watch out for us. We will be back here next week around about 6:30 p.m. as usual. But for me, for now, have a fantastic week ahead, and from all of us here, Thor and myself, see you soon. Bye bye.